In 1998, Marvel Entertainment recently emerged from bankruptcy and was desperate for cash, so they decided to license the film rights to Spider-Man to Sony Pictures. Sony Pictures acquired exclusive rights to produce live-action and animated Spider-Man films, as well as long-form television content exceeding 44 minutes long, while Marvel Entertainment retained the rights to comic books, video games, short-form animation, and crucially, merchandise. Over the past 25 years, this agreement has evolved through multiple amendments, renegotiations, and public controversy, yet it continues to influence the superhero film industry today. Spider-Man, as a character, remains a shared asset between two corporate giants: Sony, who owns the cinematic and film rights to the character, and Marvel, who owns everything else, like the IP and merchandising. The 1998 agreement and the Raimi trilogy. Sony's original deal gave them access to an excessive amount of characters in Spider-Man's catalog, over 900, including names like Venom, Black Cat, Aunt May, Green Goblin, J. Jonah Jameson, and some that we probably won't ever see on the screen like Big Wheel. The rights also covered future characters derived of the Spider-Man world, like Spider-Man Miles Morales, who they had quite the success with, Ghost Spider, and Silk. In exchange, Marvel received a one-time payment of something between $7 to $10 million, along with 5% of first dollar gross for each theatrical release. So for the original 1998 deal, we had 3 films come out: Spider-Man 1, 2002, Spider-Man 2, 2004, and Spider-Man 3, 2007. Directed by Sam Raimi, the trilogy was a critical and commercial success, and even helped revitalize the superhero genre in the 2000s and even define what a superhero movie should be. However, during pre-production of Spider-Man 4, creative tensions emerged. Raimi was unhappy with the studio's demands and the rushed development timeline. The film was unfortunately cancelled in 2010, prompting Sony to reboot the franchise to maintain their hold on the cinematic rights. Disney acquires Marvel and reshapes merchandising, 2011. In 2011, Disney, having acquired Marvel in 2009, negotiated a buyout of Spider-Man's merchandising rights from Sony for approximately $278 million. This gave Disney exclusive control over all Spider-Man related merchandise, apparel, toys, games, and any licensing that was shared with Sony. As part of this broader licensing overhaul, the two companies agreed to creative restrictions to preserve the character's core integrity and identity across platforms. These restrictions apply differently to Spider-Man in general and Peter Parker specifically. This was put in place to ensure consistent representation across different franchises. The 2011 character restrictions for Spider-Man in general are: must be male, cannot kill except in self-defense, cannot torture or use excessive violence, must use PG-13 appropriate language, no tobacco or alcohol abuse, no illegal drug use, no sexual activity before age 16, cannot be homosexual unless the character was already portrayed as such in the comics. For Peter Parker specifically, he must be Caucasian and heterosexual. Full name must be Peter Benjamin Parker. Raised in Queens, New York by Aunt May and Uncle Ben. Gains powers from a spider bite during school or college. Must design his own red and blue costume. The black symbiote suit must be alien in origin, not created by Peter. These clauses protected the canonical version of Peter Parker while allowing for interpretation for more diverse characters in alternate universes like Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy. The 2011 deal also declares that Spider-Man games are also a part of Disney now. Spider-Man's video game rights are controlled by Marvel Games, not Sony Pictures. The recent PlayStation exclusive titles, Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2, are exclusive because Marvel partnered with Insomniac Games, which is owned by Sony Interactive Entertainment. It's a studio ownership decision, not part of the film rights deal. This confusion worsened when the worst video game of all time, Marvel's Avengers, made Spider-Man a PlayStation exclusive character for no reason. But again, this was a business deal, not a legal character limitation. Reboot and disruption, The Amazing Era, 2012 to 2014. To preserve their rights, Sony was contractually obligated to start production on a new Spider-Man movie within 3 years and 9 months from the release of the last movie. A 2004 amendment allowed a 3 films and 8-year rule to be added to the contract, extending the timeline for Sony. So in 2012, Sony rebooted the series with The Amazing Spider-Man, starring Andrew Garfield. While the first film found moderate success, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 underperformed critically and commercially. And Sony had hoped to emulate the Marvel Studios' interconnected universe with their own movies, announcing an entire new slate of movies. The Amazing Spider-Man 3, which was to feature Venom, was cancelled. Silver and Black, a Silver Sable and Black Cat story, cancelled. A Sinister Six movie, cancelled. An Aunt May prequel, cancelled. You get it, it was all cancelled. However, the 2014 Sony Pictures hack, in which thousands of internal emails and documents were leaked, exposed deep dissatisfaction within the company's leadership. These emails also revealed ongoing talks with Marvel Studios about integrating Spider-Man into the MCU, conversations that would reshape the franchise entirely. The Marvel Studios Partnership, 2015. In 2015, following the collapse of Sony's internal Spider-Verse plans, Sony and Disney reached a landmark agreement. Spider-Man would appear in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, while Sony retained financing and distribution rights for solo movies. Marvel Studios would handle creative direction and MCU integration. The projects under this agreement are Captain America Civil War 2016, Spider-Man Homecoming 2017, Avengers Infinity War 2018, Avengers Endgame 2019, and Spider-Man Far From Home in 2019. Marvel Studios did not receive any box office profits from the Sony distributed Spider-Man movies, but benefited through brand synergy, merchandise sales, and narrative cohesion in the MCU. The 2019 dispute and the updated deal. In 2019, the collaboration nearly ended. Disney requested a 50-50 profit and production split, and Sony declined it, temporarily removing Spider-Man from the MCU. Intense public backlash, including online campaigns and actor Tom Holland's reported direct involvement, motivated a renegotiation. In September 2019, a revised deal was finalized. Marvel would co-produce one more Spider-Man film, that being Spider-Man No Way Home. Disney would fund 25% of production and receive 25% of box office profits, and Disney retained full merchandising rights. This outstanding deal resulted in Spider-Man No Way Home in 2021, which made over $1.9 billion in the box office, making it one of the highest grossing movies of all time, and also served as a multiverse convergence for the 3 live-action Spider-Man. The current era post No Way Home, 2021 till present. Following the overwhelming success of No Way Home, Sony and Marvel renewed their collaboration. In late 2021, producer Amy Pascal confirmed that a new trilogy, now titled Spider-Man Brand New Day, is in the works. While details of the deal remain quite confidential, reports and interviews suggest that Sony and Marvel will continue creative collaboration. The 25-75 funding and revenue split is most likely still intact from the 2019 deal. Tom Holland will officially be returning as Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is likely to appear in Avengers Doomsday 2026 and Avengers Secret Wars 2027. This extension ensures Spider-Man's continued presence inside of the MCU. The Sony Spider-Man Universe, 2018 to 2024. From 2018 to 2024, Sony launched its own cinematic franchise, Sony's Spider-Man Universe, featuring characters adjacent to Spider-Man and notably excluding Spider-Man. The released Sony Spider-Man Universe projects are Venom 2018, Venom Let There Be Carnage 2021, Morbius 2022, Madam Web 2024, Venom The Last Dance 2024, and Kraven the Hunter 2024. While the Venom films surprisingly found box office success, subsequent entries like Morbius and Madam Web were met with critical and commercial failure. Critics cite a lack of narrative cohesion, inconsistent tone, and the absence of Spider-Man as key reasons for the franchise's underperformance. Despite holding the rights to deep and complex characters in Spider-Man's roster, Sony's cinematic efforts often feel disjointed and disconnected. And throughout all that failure inside of the Sony Spider-Man universe, Sony has decided to finally throw in the towel and cancel any future plans for the cinematic universe. Where things stand now. As of 2025, the division of rights is still complex. Sony owns the film rights and TV rights over 44 minutes for Spider-Man and over 900 different characters. Disney and Marvel owns the rights to their comic books, their video games, their merchandise, and their short-form media. Spider-Man appears in the MCU through collaborative contracts that are renegotiated when needed. The licensing agreement, originally signed in 1998, has endured for over 2 decades long, adapting to market changes, audience demands, and the shifting strategies of the 2 largest entertainment companies in the world. Unless Sony fails to meet its contractual production window, the rights to Spider-Man are unlikely ever going to revert back to Marvel. Thanks, guys.